Right Honorable Prime Minister, Right Honorable Speaker, I'm going to make a statement on the spike on petroleum product supplies in Uganda. As a background, Uganda is operating a liberalized fuel market. It means the supply and the demand determine the price of petroleum products in our country, and this is by law. Our law of 2003, and it's also in our regulations of 2009, where we liberalized the supply of petroleum products. Number two, the source of our supply. 98% of the supplied petroleum products to this country come through the Kenyan Mombasa. And we actually depend on using open tender system guidelines of Kenya. This arrangement updated in 2023, if you recall. I talked about it again when we had a spike of fuel prices in this country. Number two, global factors actually impact on fuel prices. We can, as a country, play a little role in determining the fuel prices. The crude oil prices have actually gone up in the recent past. And I'll give you the prices as of July and August. Also, depending oil producing and exporting countries, OPEC, which is a major supply of petroleum products, they have actually pushed down their production. The petroleum products which are put in the market, the crude oil from OPEC, has actually been pushed down. It means the supply has gone down on the crude oil products. Also, I want to point out macroeconomic sentiments. Positive sentiment in the global macroeconomic landscape has increased optimism about oil demand, putting up pressure on the oil prices. World oil demand has increased lately. Increasing world oil demand has reached a record level, with the demand hitting 103 million barrels per day in June 2023. In August, another peak in demand, which was driven by strong consumption during the summer season in Europe and United States, actually created a reduction of supplies and then the prices. This surge in demand is a significant factor contributing to rising fuel prices globally, not only in Uganda. Also in Uganda, foreign exchange. Exchange rate fluctuations have influenced the fuel prices, especially in our country. The exchange rate against the US dollar was 3,615 shillings per dollar in July 2023, and has increased currently to 3,725 as of yesterday. This is in August, and that price has actually stayed that high. This has got a direct impact on the price of fuel at the pump stations. Oil prices and Platts. The global oil market has seen a notable increase in oil prices, with the price of Brent crude oil per barrel, surging to 74.35 US dollars in July 2023 to 82.45 US dollars in August 2023. Additionally, refined petroleum product prices, guided by the Platts, have increased significantly. Diesel prices rose by $135 per metric ton, and petrol prices increased by $67 in August compared to July 2023. These price increases are directly affecting the cost of petroleum products imported into Uganda, which in turn influences domestic pump prices. Platts serve as a global authority in the energy industry by providing essential benchmark pricing assessments, market transparency, and insights for various energy products, enabling market transparency and insights for various energy products, enabling market participants to make informed decisions, manage risk, and ensure fair and transparent energy trade practices. Price takers. Uganda as a country is actually a taker because we, as a net importer of petroleum products, Uganda is a price taker. We are not producing oil, we just take. This means that when global oil prices rise, it directly affects prices at the pump in Uganda. However, despite being a landlocked country, Uganda's fuel prices remain competitive, and transit trucks often purchase their fuel in Uganda. They actually leave the the trucks which go through Uganda come and refuel their vehicles in Uganda because of the competitive prices that we have before crossing into Kenya due to lower prices here. I'm going to give you, which I have as an annex, the indications how the fuel prices are across the region. I'll come to that. Number 4, impact of increased world oil demand and demand and summer season in Europe and the US. The surge in global oil demand to record levels, especially during the summer season in Europe and the United States, has put immense pressure on prices. Thus, high demand, driven by seasonal factors and increased economic activity, has contributed significantly to the recent spike in fuel prices worldwide. In conclusion, the rising fuel prices in Uganda can be attributed to a combination of global factors, including deepening OPEC supply cuts, positive microeconomic sentiments, strong world oil demand, the seasonal impact of the summer season in Europe and the United States, foreign exchange fluctuations in our country, and a notable increase in oil prices, guided by the Platts assessments. While Uganda remains competitive in fuel pricing, it is essential that we continue to monitor these factors as they come across over time. With the measures put in place to ensure a steady supply of petroleum products and fair competition in the downstream petroleum subsector, my ministry will continue to monitor the subsector to ensure that Uganda's market gets continuous supply of petroleum products through all the supply routes competitively. So we have 2 supply routes, the Kenyan one and then the Dar es Salaam one. So we shall continue monitoring to ensure that we have a security of supply. Right Honorable Speaker, I would wish to submit, but before I do that, I have an annex to show you that our prices are competitive in the region. I'm going to talk about the prices in Dar es Salaam, the prices in various points in Kenya when the petroleum products enter Uganda, and then the Kampala price. Petrol, the Dar es Salaam price is 3,199 Tanzanian shillings. When you get it to Uganda shilling, that's equivalent to 4,514. That's in Dar es Salaam. Now, on the Kenyan route for petrol, in Mombasa, the price is
Is that attachment on what is uploaded? The rules are very clear. When it says statement, you must upload everything.
I actually have it here, and I signed it off, and it was also in the copies which I sent to the Speaker.
That you sent to the Speaker, am I the one who scans it? I
sent to the clerk. Sorry.
It's okay, you read it. Yes.
Well, Madam Speaker, we have only respected the minister, but he has if been referring to his notes, he was not reading a statement. But because of the respect he has, we had to take it with the challenges we have. But in normal practice, the minister should be reading a statement and it should be flowing with our iPads. But since you are, of course, as you are, we accept that.
Thank you, Madam man. Honorable members, you will get the figures. Honorable members, you've heard what the minister is saying. You all know that in Uganda, the pricing is in a free market economy. Like ours, where the demand, like what the minister said, the determinants are on demand and supply. When the demand outstrips the supply, prices are bound to raise. Now they have risen up. The prices are up. It erodes our disposable income. And it worsens on the living conditions of the people. And after listening to what the minister is saying, the minister's statement is talking about the external factors. Basically talking about the external factors. The Honorable Minister is not looking at what are the mitigating factors that we can bring on board. Government being the regulator, what can we do in the immediate, medium, and long term? You need to do your regulatory role as government. And then we need to have buffers locally for us to be able to manage these external shocks. We should not be able to dance with the external shocks. We should have the buffers locally for us to manage it. As a minister of energy, we need stable supply. How we get stable supply? It's upon government. Yes. JB. After JB, yeah, what we don't have. Okay, you give us the figures.
I was actually reading through the annex, Right Honorable forms, where we are. I was telling you, Right Honorable Speaker, and the House, that the price, even in Mombasa, of petrol is equivalent to 4,769. That's in Mombasa. This is current. Nairobi, the price is 4,851. Eldoret.
You who is saying, you know, how much is the fare?
Madam Speaker, Sometimes I eat breakfast in Uganda and lunch in Kenya. And as I talk now, and the current information I've just been given by Mr. Shem, the cost of fuel is 3,950 on the border of Busia.
Right, Honorable Speaker. If I may continue. I'm not going to answer him because it could be smuggled fuel, but I'm talking of official fuel. Now,
Order, Madam Speaker.
at Mandera,
Honorable members, the minister is having the floor. Yes.
Right, Honorable Speaker. Fuel at Mandera is 5,229 Uganda shillings. It is equivalent. In Kenyan money,
What is Mandela?
Mandera. This is actually closer to Busia. I've actually talked from Mombasa, Nairobi, Eldoret, and then Mandera close to the border. Mandera. Yes, it is equivalent to 5,229 shillings currently. And when you compare to the price in Kampala, which is 502,000 currently, 5,200 shillings. That's the current petrol price. So it actually shows, that
What is the exact cost of fuel?
it is 5,200. 400.
Sarah, what is the cost of fuel? You fuel it today. The minister wouldn't know because he uses a fuel card. What is
Right
the
Honorable Speaker, over the weekend I was in Tororo. I took fuel, 2 different petrol stations at 5,300 a liter. Yes, and that is total and fuel and Shell.
Honorable members, it doesn't matter how much fuel is, but what we know, the fuel prices have gone high. That is a fact. The issue is, what is our plan as government? Immediate, medium, and long term.
Right, Honorable Speaker. We shall continue assuring the country. We shall continue monitoring the supply. Right, Honorable Speaker. What my ministry is responsible is to assure, since these are global issues.
Do you have, yes?
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Minister has presented to us what is happening. And as usual, the usual talk wherever prices rise. And you've also just asked him once again that the issues of global prices, forces of demand and supply, we are aware. And you've just asked him that what's the way out? What have you planned? Issues like reserves, to mention anything, it's what we are expecting. Right now, Madam Speaker.
First of all, we need to find out what happened to our reserves. In Jinja, in Hoima, in wherever, what happened to them? Do we have fuel in them? And if you have fuel in them, that should be the immediate buffer that we have.
Oh, won't it be procedure right, Madam Speaker? The Honorable Minister goes back and it brings for us a comprehensive statement showing us what we are going to do, what the country is able to move on and directing us with the way you've just mentioned, short-term, medium-term, and long-term responses and solutions as for this country to move on. Because last time, they could even say that whoever is going to have price above 6,000 or 5,000, that's what the Prime Minister mentioned. And then at least the petrol stations were able to reduce a little. But right now, it's not giving us a solution. So are we proceeding well when the Minister is not able to give us a solution right now? Madam Speaker.
Honorable Minister, your role is not only keep monitoring, but ensure stability and assuring the country. We want the stability. Yes.
Assurances interfaced with the minister, and he knows it very well. And we gave a number of issues, and we have a report we prepared. If it is within your mandate, Madam Speaker, if you could permit that you will give us room tomorrow.
You say if it is within my mandate?
Within your mandate, Madam
Okay.
Speaker. Not if. The senior legislator here cannot make mistakes on Speaker. Within your mandate and your powers, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members,
that
under item 8 on the order paper, and that's what Honorable Seungu is talking about. The motion for adoption of a report of Committee of Government Assurance and implementation on government assurances to stabilize fuel prices. What Honorable Seungu is saying, Joseph Gonzaga Mukatuliki, he's suggesting that we debate the report together with the assurances of the minister. Because the minister, all what the minister has is an assurance to the country that we shall reduce prices. So I think let's look at that report together with what the minister has presented. Yes, a motion?
Moving under Rule 59, a motion that Parliament rejects this statement by the Minister. You have, as a presiding officer, even guided further. But actually, government, worth its name, should come here and explain what happened to the reserves. What are the solutions to the citizens who are suffering with the fuel? Not just downloading material from Google, and then you come and tell us how external factors. The motion, Madam Speaker, which comes without notice under this rule, is that this Parliament rejects this statement and orders the Minister to return with a statement that gives solutions to the fuel crisis that we have in the country. That's the motion, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, the minutes are not finished. And in his statement, he still had good ideas what is causing the prices, the external factors. The only thing that the minister does not have in his report is the solution on the way forward, how we can mitigate the effect of the prices. But since it is a motion that you put, is that motion seconded? I am putting a question. Those in favor of that motion say and the contrary nay. The nays have it. So, Honorable Minister, Honorable Minister, Honorable Minister, we are going to have a debate tomorrow on your paper, on your report, together with the committee's report. It will be a first item tomorrow.
Most obliged, Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item.
2, statement by Minister on the high cost of school fees in some public schools and tertiary institutions and attendant regulations.
Honorable members, Section 32 and Section 57G of the Education, Pre-Primary, Primary and Post-Primary Act 2008 mandates the minister to prescribe and regulate the fees payable at all the schools. As part of the oversight role, the responsibility is given to the minister to make sure that he brings the regulations to this house. This house requested the minister to bring the regulations since the students are going back to school very soon with the dates that Honorable Sarah raised, with the dates that are not systematic, which we want you to respond on Thursday on the issue of the dates. It is the responsibility of government to ensure that there is equality in education, because we fund these government schools, and even when we appropriate money for them, they still charge high school fees. It is on that note, therefore, that we asked you to come and present to this house. And we are asking for the regulations, not circulars.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, this statement is about high school charges in some schools. You can call it prohibitive, and the attendant regulations, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker and dear colleagues, my ministry shares the concern of the honorable members about prohibitive school fees charges, which are denying access to education for a number of our learners, compromising government's objectives of providing affordable quality education for all and increasing equitable access to education. Right Honorable Speaker, it's against that background that the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports set up a committee to review the school fees charges in schools. And this committee was chaired by Professor Kayanja. I'll be laying on table his report. Right Honorable Speaker, from the recommendation that were drawn from that committee report, Kayanja committee report, the minister has come up with measures to curb the continuous rising fees charges. These measures...
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Usually, and I want to thank the Minister for Local Government. When there is a matter for local government, he will be here, not his deputy. The procedure issue I am raising, Madam Speaker, is whether the Honorable J.C. Muyingo is now the Minister for Education. Because you called for the Minister for Education, I thought he will first tell Parliament why the Minister is not here, and then he proceeds as someone who has been sent. But he has made it a habit that each time you call for Minister of Education, he immediately jumps up as if he's the Minister of Education. Yet this Parliament approved the Minister for Education.
On procedure. Honorable members, Honorable Muyingo is a Minister of Education. The Minister of Education has a number of ministers, and I have a rota. Today is a day for Honorable Muyingo. Much as the document is not even signed by him, but because he's the one supposed to be in the house. is the one in the house and is reading the statement. It is signed by him. Okay. Okay. If you want who is the minister herself? These are the ministers. Unless if you just want a person. But if you want a minister, the minister is here.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, let the Honorable Minister in charge of higher education.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, from the
Okay.
Madam Speaker, for accepting my guidance and for seeking for your guidance, I've been the Committee of Education for some time, and I know it runs. But I think, with your guidance, with help us, that you write to the full Minister of Education to know her roles as a minister. We are running this committee, and we get stuck because of the absence of the minister substantive not appearing before the committee. There is nothing we lose as a committee. She went through the appointments committee, and she gave assurances to this parliament that she ran work of government because she has no children. So the minister who does not enter appearance is making us get stuck, and Honorable Yingo is sweating all the time with us. He's suffering.
Honorable member, I have always told you, you can attend on Zoom and you can attend physically. And as I see, the First Lady is on Zoom, unless if you want to see her physically. If you want to see her physically, honorable members, I wish I was loved like the way you love the First Lady. I really, you want her in the house.
Madam, I even pray for her, by the way.
Yes, keep praying for her, and if you want her, kindly, let's make appointment. I take you to State House and you meet her.
She's not headed for the
Minister,
committee.
continue.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, may I also use this chance to tell my brother Seung that I'm not sweating.
Actually, your son.
I'm enjoying my work.
He's not he's your son.
He's my young brother.
Okay.
Right Honorable Speaker, from the recommendation that were drawn by the Kayanja report, the Ministry has come up with measures to curb the continuous rising fees charges. These measures were communicated to the schools and the general public through press release and circulars by the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education and Sports, which were dated on the October 29, 2018 and February and 4th February 2020. The guidelines in the circular include the following. 1, no school, private or government, shall increase school fees for whatever reason without written authorization from the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education and Sports. Number 2, other cash and non-cash requirements outside.
Why don't you leave the minister to finish? Because we are distorting him.
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to raise a very important procedure matter. Last week when the Minister of Education, the Honorable Peter Ogwang, was presenting, you asked about the Kayanja report and that they would first bring us to book about the Kayanja report before they make the presentation.
But he said he's going to lay on table the Kayanja report.
Right Honorable, I wish I could conclude the procedure.
Yes.
My procedure matter was, wouldn't it be procedure right for the minister to first take us through the Kayanja reports that we understand and we are at the same level before he presents.
We will put the Kayanja report in the library, and when you want, you go and read it. For me, our interest as a house are the regulations. Just give us the regulations. You don't even need to talk much. Just bring the regulations, even if it means just laying on table, lay them on table.
Right Honorable Speaker, Right now, I don't have the regulations, but I wanted to give you a background why that situation.
Now,
Right?
please listen to the minister. Yes.
Right, Honorable, I want to allow me to complete my report and exactly show you how far we have gone with the regulations. Right, Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. The third guideline was schools implementing universal primary education, secondary education, and universal post-O-level education and training shall strictly adhere to the policy implementation guidelines, where the parents decide and agree to contribute towards an emergency in the school and permission is sought and granted by the permanent secretary, no learner shall be excluded from school on account of a parent's failure to pay the agreed upon amount in accordance with Section 9(3) of the Education Act of 2008. As soon as the emergency is resolved, the school shall stop charging the emergency fee. 4, where a school board or school management committee has to employ additional teachers to those on payroll, permission shall be sought from the permanent secretary in case of a secondary school and the chief administrative officer or town clerk in case of a primary school to use part of the capitation grant toward the payment of additional teachers. 5, in line with 4 above, head teachers are warned against employing additional teachers before all the teachers on the payroll have been assigned the minimum required teaching load. All teachers without a minimum teaching load should be promptly reported to the Minister of Education and Sports in case of secondary schools for respective local governments in case of primary schools for appropriate redeployment. All schools must respect staff establishment ceilings for both teaching and non-teaching staff as provided by the Minister of Public Service. 6, private schools must adhere to the approved staff employment guidelines. They should formally recruit, contract, and effectively manage and develop staff on reasonable employment terms. Madam Speaker, number 7, all government and government-aided schools should desist from taking commercial loans. Any school applying for a loan must seek authorization from the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development through the Permanent Secretary Minister of Education and Sports, as provided for in the Public Finance Management Act of 2015. Right, Honorable Speaker, these guidelines have been widely circulated to institutions of learning across the country through local governments, Kampala State Council Authority, and the Directorate of Education Standards. Right, Honorable Speaker, my ministry prepared a cabinet paper on school fees regulations, wanted the approval of cabinet. However, cabinet, in a bid to fulfill the pledge of free education for all, directed the minister to submit another memo on compulsory free education for all. The ministry submitted the cabinet memo on free and compulsory education for all, and it was approved by cabinet on the 17th March 2023. The ministry has embarked on implementing this cabinet resolution and will be briefing Parliament accordingly on the progress of this at an appropriate time. Right, Honorable Speaker, what we are going in for is compulsory, universal, primary, secondary education, universal and free. And this is going to be done in phases beginning with next financial year. Therefore, the policy regulating school fees has, as it were, been overtaken by events, and a new position on free, compulsory, universal education is being implemented, Madam Speaker. I submit, Madam
Thank
Speaker.
you. Clarification from Julia.
Honorable Speaker, my clarification goes to the Honorable Minister. How are you going to do it in a phased manner? Because you're just reading a report without a detail of how you're going to do it. How are you going to completely make sure that it is free education for both primary and secondary? Because that will speak to the Ugandans that are looking and listening to us.
Education for all the students. Let's first have the guidelines or the circular for this third term. No, let's first have for this third term. You own a school, we know it. First of all, one thing that we must appreciate, that education is a universal equalizer, and we don't want to disadvantage other people. If you don't have the regulations, why don't you first come with a circular and give out to all the schools and say, this is the minimum amount of money that you should charge and maximum. And then you closely monitor for you to be able to know that for you to be able to give out free education in the next financial year. But for now, what is the way forward? Students are going back to school. What are you advising the schools? It can't be overtaken by events, no. I first respond to what I've asked you.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, we are going to universal primary, universal secondary education, whereby each and everybody of school-going age will be able to...
I asked you for primary, secondary, and tertiary.
Right,
we are not talking about only primary.
Right Honorable, I'm coming, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, there
is a man from Honorable Onzima. A clarification
thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm just confused because I thought as of now, government was implementing universal secondary education and universal primary education. Now, if the minister is saying from next financial year, we are also starting a universal primary school education for secondary and primary. What is this one which we have been implementing? So I just wanted to get that clarification.
Honorable members, I want you to listen. The law is very clear that the minister shall bring regulations unless if we are not implementing the law. And you're talking about UPE. We are not talking about UPE alone. We are talking about primary, secondary, and tertiary. And for us to want regulations, even if it is free, but the regulations must be there. It's a demand of the law. Yes, Jonah?
Madam Speaker, last week, the State Minister for Education and Sports, Honorable Ogwang, presented a statement here. If you looked at the statement presented today by the Minister, word for word, except the signatures, has been presented.
No, mine has the same signature of last week.
No, the one presented by him is under
No, for me, mine, what I was given, has the Minister, Honorable Wang's signature. It is here. And this is the report we threw out last week and asked the Minister to come with the regulation. Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, can you help this house? Can you help this country? We made a law in this house, and you are aware of the law, that you will come with the regulations to regulate the school fees that is being paid, to avoid exploitation of other people. Other schools, including government-aided schools, are charging very high school fees. And that's what we are asking you for. We are not asking for too much. We want uniformity. And we said last time we need to grade this school. A school in town in Kampala here is different from a school which is coming from Mayuge there, and that one maybe you can charge a certain amount. That's why we are saying we need minimum and maximum. Give us the regulations on how we should run these schools. Yes, law.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I am very constrained to pick the motivation of one of my mentors, the Honorable Mayingo. Today, I am very troubled. He's very uninspired and unusually sounding insipid because he's very smart, you know? And I am wondering what could have befallen him. First of all, he is aware that government has never fulfilled its policy of a primary and secondary school per sub-county, parish for primary, sub-county for secondary. And today, to calm the nerves of the House, they have added a slogan to free education, compulsory free. So all the troubles have been solved. He's aware that as we speak, there are simply so many primary schools, even without the minimum number of teachers required. And he's also aware that for each pupil in our primary schools, they receive less than 10,000 shillings per year. And they're supposed to use that to hire more teachers and also run the schools they're supposed to run. And we are still discussing education in those same phrases. Education for our children and the future of this country. Honorable Speaker, I think we can be so nice, we can speak niceties. The Honorable good doctor and minister needs to do justice to his quality. He's superb, he's good. This is not him. To return and speak to this House. Is government prepared to educate freely and compulsorily the country's children, facilitate the schools, pay the teachers, recruit enough teachers, make sure there are schools in every sub-county as notified. Honorable Speaker, I've been traveling the country. There are schools, sub-counties without schools are several. I was in Obongi, primary school children board a ferry every 12 o'clock to return home for lunch and return to school in the afternoon at 4 for afternoon lessons. So, Honorable Speaker, the minister needs to return to the drawing board. And unfortunately for my good friend and mentor, where I work in my space, we cannot even debate his statement because it has no space. This kind of output has no space in my program. We can't debate it, unfortunately. It does not mean the minimum standards for our space to debate it. We need, this is our country. Education is our space, all of us. We need to discuss it in terms that even inspire a young people home watching TV. That we actually are planning for them. So we can't discuss this, Honorable Speaker. So will the Honourable Minister be kind and say, I humbly retreat. Let me go prepare. You have my support, Doctor. Be sure you'll have our support. Bring what you need to do. We know there are challenges in the sector. They are not your proper personal challenges. You do not create them. We can handle them together. This is our country. Prepare. Expose the gaps. We shall support you.
Thank you.
Just be aware there are challenges. But this does not pass the minimum test, I am afraid. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you so much. Public gallery. This is Luge. Nursery and primary school, that is Erute, South Lira district, represented by our own Honorable Odur Jonathan, or Auma Linda. You are very good members of Parliament. Go and tell your parents that you have, when you see Oduru here for Parliament. In the public gallery this afternoon, we have pupils and teachers from Rima Nursery, and James Michael, Jimmy, and Honorable Achen Jenny Ruth. Honorable members, Honorable Minister, we want to plead with you that what the minister gave you to come and read is exactly what Honorable Gwang read the other day. That's why I was able to follow it, even when it was the Gwang's signature, Honorable Gwang's signature. They only removed the Honorable Gwang's name and put yours. Let these ministries not make us look ugly. What we are saying, now we are going to third term. Let's have, in the absence of regulation, let's first have a circular go to schools, that this is the minimum and maximum amount that should be paid in terms of school fees. We thank you so much for the universal free education. We'll wait for it. But for now, we are in third term. We want an action to be taken. Minister, because we are not going to take this report is what we threw out the other day. I don't want to call contempt of Parliament. I don't want to call it, but I would have naturally called it. Yes?
Colleague is asking, just read 59M. The trouble, they give you books you don't read. Madam Speaker, I am raising a point of privilege. The Honorable Jesse Muyingo was with the Commissioner for Higher Education in the committee, our committee here in the morning. And he was pleading, why are you embarrassing me at my age? And I'm saying the truth, let him deny. The point of privilege I'm raising on his behalf, at his age, he's being made to carry these things and is again humiliated by the committee, now by Parliament. Why doesn't this Parliament advise him to resign? For you to be asked to bring the same statement and you append your signature. The Honorable Matthias Mpuga said, and I confess, you are our leader in Uganda here with a lot of respect. That's why you put us in an awkward position now. Because how can my people hear me that I am here also joining those who are embarrassing you? Yet you made the choice yourself that you will be the one to carry papers, whether you have read, whether you cross-checked with what was here. Madam Speaker, I request you to invoke Rule 59M and allow the Honorable Jesse Muyingo not to return with, otherwise here, how do we defend you?
Honorable Doctor, I want you to come back with something better than what you have.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I've taken note of the issues that have been raised. I pray that you give us some time. We come back with a more robust, updated report.
First of all, Honorable Dr. Muyingo, first we want an action. Come back with an action that you've taken. Now that schools are starting. Maybe you can send a circular or you can do something, advise the schools. Yes? Yes, Doctor?
Most obliged, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Yes, Alan?
Thank you, Madam.
We are not debating on the report that we chased away.
No, we are not debating on the report. But Madam Speaker, because of the respect we accord to Honorable Jesse Muyingo, it would be prudent enough for him to withdraw that report and say sorry to Parliament because of his dignity as he, for us leaders in Uganda here, we feel offended because how can a full doctor, almost a professor, read the same statement which was thrown out by Parliament last week? It is too embarrassing, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, don't tribalize this Parliament. Honorable Muyingo is a minister. He's not a minister of Uganda. And he's one of the respected ministers. Honorable Muyingo has already taken his document, he has withdrawn his document, and he's coming with a robust document. But in the meantime, as we wait for the robust document, he's going to take action and give out circulars on issues of schools that exploit parents and how such issues can be handled. Next item.
As the minister is going to work on the report to edit it, I also want him to inform this nation, as he's saying that the schools are going to be not paying, it's going to be free education. I want him to tell us why they are adding in extra payments, which they are naming as developmental fee, lunch, medical fees.
That is what is going to form.
If all that can be edited and be deleted from the lists of the schools which are under government. Thank you.
Honorable members, let's wait for the robust report. In the meantime, we need an action to be taken on schools. The problem that we have is most of us are conflicted. Because most people have schools, so they feel the school fees should continue the same way.